Birdland Today, your daily dose of Orioles talk.
All right, welcome to another Birdland Today for Wednesday, February 26th. And I wanted to do something a little different. Part of Birdland Today is building a community. That's why we've got the newsletter. So we're getting right in your inbox. And I ask you guys to respond to that newsletter all the time to continue the conversation going. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of hand over the reins of Birdland Today once in a while with other members of Birdland, of this Birdland community. So, all right, so I want to pass it on to Dad Bods, Crab Cakes, and Sports, which is one of the newer podcasts for this year for the Orioles season. And I think it's a good chance for them to introduce themselves and kind of talk about some expectations for the Orioles, because we always talk about, as exciting as spring training is, can you really learn anything from practice? So, guys, welcome to Birdland Today, and I'm going to let you guys take it over.
All right. Thanks a lot, Josh. As Josh said, we are Crab Cakes, or actually we are Dad Bods, Crab Cakes, and Sports, talking all Baltimore sports, Maryland Terps, obviously food, and our beautiful Dad Bods. So thank you very much for giving us the time to get on here. We are probably the newest show talking Baltimore sports. And again, my name is Jason Weisbecker, my co-host Michael Frisky, and my other co-host John Lanscraner. All three of us are lifelong friends. Just wanted to give this a shot and have an outlet to discuss what we love, which is the Orioles, the Terps, the Ravens, etc., and then some national sports as well. So just to kind of kick it off, John, the Orioles obviously just kicked off spring training here a couple weeks ago, just started games over the weekend. What do you think so far?
I like what I'm hearing and some of the highlights and things that I've seen. You know, we talked about it on our episode the other night. You know, in the game I believe you were at in Clearwater, you know, they were working counts. They were, you know, obviously it's not all starters, not all, you know, guys who end up on a big club to start the season, but we're seeing, you know, good things going. You know, today they're down 4-3 right now in the bottom of the seventh, but you know, we're seeing stuff that, you know, we talk about every week of, you know, this is what this person has to do and that person, and, you know, seeing a little bit of struggles, but I like what I'm seeing, you know, physically from guys like Jackson Holiday, guys like Adley Rutschman putting on some weight that hopefully through the season that will, you know, end up helping them in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny with spring training. What do you take from it? It's when the guys are doing well, you're like, oh man, they did great over the offseason. Look at them. Kerstead hit a home run. Bradfield, he was in the gym all off season. He hit a knock yesterday. But then Kerstead over the weekend goes 0 for 3 in Clearwater. You're like, oh, what's wrong with him? And then Suarez starts off the game the other day, could not throw strikes. What's wrong with him? But the truth of the matter is, you have to take the good with the bad, because Suarez is actually working on a new pitch. He's working on a sweeper, which he was throwing the majority of the time the other day, where he couldn't find the strike zone. So it's kind of like you're tiptoeing this line of, you want to get excited. This guy hit a home run. This guy's 5 for 7. But then where do you start there? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and like today, and we talked about this the other day too, Kerstead is 0 for 3 with 3 Ks. Holiday is 0 for 2 with a walk and a K. Mountcastle's 0 for 3 with a K. And what we don't know what's going on inside the batting cage, you know, that they're working on this, that, or the other. And that's kind of what's leading to the strikeouts. That's what's leading to this. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of things going on. You know, you and I and other guys who have played baseball, you know, at a higher level know there's things you're working on that, okay, we struck out, but it's not a big deal. What you're working on is working, and you're doing much better at it, you know? So like I said, as far as working on the sweeper and, you know, getting his pitch like that under control will take some time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to look forward to. I mean, I am very, very high on them this year. I do think that this is yet another playoff year for them if everything goes well. And Josh, as I heard in your other show, I mean, I think they win a couple games in the playoffs this year as well. This is the Orioles have kind of put everything in it's time for the youngsters basket. So it's about that time where they let Kerstead play. You're hoping Holiday comes up makes a rebound from where he was last year. Mayo gets some time this year. They didn't sign a whole lot of guys outside of that on the offensive end. So it's a matter of coming in there and letting these guys go. You're going to live and die by these youngsters this year.
And I think that's, going to play true all the way through the end of the season. And we're going to see, what, do we hold up for the entire 162 games this year? Like I mentioned earlier, Adley's put on some, some clear weight, some muscle, some good weight and things, and as we saw towards the end of the season last year, he was slumping. And what are they going to do, come August, September, October to make sure that Adley's not slumping at the end of the season, that, he is able to last the full 162 game season, and whether that is, bringing a guy like Sanchez, who I consider a little bit of an upgrade over McCann, as a backup catcher, and not giving him as many days behind the plate, or, whatever. But, like we said, we're young, we're going to figure this out. And I think we have ownership who's going to put the money in when we need it. And we're going to be, around for hopefully the next, 5-10 years and continue.
Yeah. And I think this year too, that where all the other Oriole fans out there, I mean, if you read any social media, whatnot, everyone's concerned about the pitching and how that's going to turn out. I mean, right now it goes back to what we've kind of been talking about on our show for a while, is bulk pitching. And you have a lot of guys that are number 2s or number 3s and 4s and not a true ace. And last year we had that true number 1 ace, and we still got booted after the first 2 games in the playoffs. So what happens this year? Does that change? Like, do you have to have an ace to succeed, John? What do you think?
I don't think so. And I think, we get a good 5-6 innings out of it. And if we can get that back end of the bullpen working, like they were working before, Batista's injury and things, and then bringing in a guy like Dominguez and things, get into the back end of the bullpen, and all those guys only got to work 1 inning apiece. You know what? That helps your starters out, because when you really only have to give us 5 innings every game, you're not like, oh, we got the closer, so we got to figure out how to get 7-8 innings out of these guys. I don't think we have to do that. I think they give us 5-6 good innings a night. We got enough depth, as you just spoke about, in the bullpen to help us go further. And then Batista comes back with the form he had before his injury. You know what? The sky's the limit. I don't think a lot of people want to face him in the 9th inning.
And I do think that it's going to be a kind of a slow burn for Batista this year. I think they're going to ease him back into things. I don't think you're going to see many back-to-back appearances early on, if not until close to the playoffs. I think you're going to see probably more of a committee on games where you need a reliever back-to-back-to-back.
Yeah, I think that's going to be kind of the big thing, and a big question mark is seeing, okay, which Batista do we end up getting? But, that trade last year to bring in Sir Anthony Dominguez may end up being one of the most consequential things to have, that happened. And you know what? As I read more and more things, they're talking about the Orioles not making the big trades, but, that's them giving confidence to the guys that we currently have and saying, you know what, we're going to roll with you guys. And, throughout the season, obviously our big talk on our show, it seems almost every single episode, is what are they going to do with Kjerstad? Are they going to hang on to him? Are they going to trade him? Are they going to get starting pitching with him? But I think, they're going to they're in the wait and see, just like you said, Jason. They're going to wait and see how the season goes and what moves they're going to need to make. And we have the tools in our tool bag to make those trades if necessary down the line, and see who's in, who's out come July, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that, John. I really do. I mean, I think that if they do need to move guys to make room for another pitcher down the road, they definitely have the room there. They have the guys to do it. However, that name Kjerstad keeps popping up. I think they are going to have to rely on him this year with his bat, though. I don't think he's the one that goes. I think you see more of maybe Mayo, maybe guys lower in the organization, a Judd Fabian, Dylan Beavers, who is killing it right now in spring training right off the bat. So I guess time will tell on what they're going to do. But I mean, I can tell you, as we said earlier, we are very high this year on the Orioles. I think, speaking for Mike as well, all three of us think that they're going to make a run this year.
Absolutely. And I think, there's always somebody who surprises us. Is that Povich this year? Does he step up? Does Grayson Rodriguez become a number one starter? Does, what happens? And it's a game of baseball. You never know, never know what's going to happen. And it's a very, very long season.
What is your guys' expectations of Jackson Holliday?
I am very high on Jackson Holliday, and I think it's because there was so much hoopla coming in with him being the number one prospect in baseball, and his dad having the pedigree with his father. To me, it's very hard to picture this guy failing. I think things got a little too big for him right off the bat, but going forward, I see him being not just an everyday major leaguer, but a borderline all-star and beyond. Maybe not right off the bat this year, but I mean, he's definitely capable of a 20, 25, 30, 30 type performance.
And I think about the same thing, Jason. I just look at, the way that he corrected his first stint in the majors with that big leg kick and then them going away with the soft stuff and just eating him alive, going back to AAA, correcting those things, bringing the leg kick down. And then, that bomb onto Utah Street, the grand slam, that is huge. I think that's the player we're going to get. And as we've talked about on our show too, is we have 3 major league shortstops on our roster playing in the infield. And I think that Holiday just, increases that productivity, both on the defensive, but then also, on the offensive end. And then a 30 guys not out of the question, 40 stolen base, 20 homer, 310 type leadoff hitter, second hitter. It's very exciting. It's a great time to be an Orioles fan and to see all the good things, the things we've been waiting for. Baltimore has been such a football place for so long, and now you see the baseball. You see, we have those tools. We have those players. We have the ownership group who's going to bring us to the next level. And I think, Holiday is going to be one of the leaders in that whole thing.
All right, that's good to know. Let's we kind of try to keep these things short, so let's wrap it up there. How can people find your podcast?
Yeah, I mean, you can find our podcast on any of your favorite podcast lists, Apple, Spotify. We even are now starting to do some live recording on YouTube. So, yeah, you can find us anywhere there. You can also email us anything you want us to discuss or talk about at Dad Bods, crab cakes and sports @gmail.com.
All right, that's great. Make sure you guys go on over, give them a follow in Apple Podcasts. Are you guys on YouTube as well?
Yes.
All right, I'm sure you are. All right, so follow them on YouTube, and we will talk again. Tomorrow for Birdland Today, we're going to have an interview from the Mike O'Mara Show that sat down with John Miller, who just wrote a book about Earl Weaver. So that'll be on tomorrow's Birdland Today.